The following podcast has been rated PGN. Parental guidance is neglected.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a little father-son chat.
I am your father.
Father, if you can hear me, I failed.
Don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I'm here with my dad.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I've abandoned my boy!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Parental Guidance Neglected. What was that?
I don't know, that's my face. That's
your face? That's your new face?
That's my... Well, when you're talking, I'll do that face.
Ugh. Episode 36. Here we are.
PGN podcast.
Big milestone.
You know what 36 means, right?
What does that mean?
It means we're only 64 episodes away from our 100th anniversary. We are literally...
We're almost there.
We're almost there. We're knocking on the door. Episode 100. Should hit it by mid-April, I would think.
We're on our way.
We're on our way. I just had a cold beverage.
We've got a... Oh, look at that. Hand delivered.
Yeah, I know. Cold beverage.
We've got I feel like we've got a packed episode today. We did a great job this week, as we always do.
We did.
Going out and seeing some movies.
This is a heavy episode?
I think so. I saw a good bit of movies. I know that you did too.
I think we're making up for all that time you were in France eating Nutella. How big is Nutella? By the way,
is Nutella French or is it Italian?
I don't. Did you have crepes with Nutella on there?
I did actually. I had one crepe with Nutella, but it was Nutella and banana, and we went to the quote unquote best crepe stand. It was real good.
Was it the best? It was
good.
The best. Was it the best crepe you've ever had?
It was pretty damn good. But listen, me and you both know that I make a mean crepe.
Oh my god, yeah, you do.
I make a mean crepe.
I love how people are probably picturing you in the kitchen right now making a crepe in your like tighty whitey underwear or something.
Like Walter White.
Yeah, cooking instead of cooking meth.
Yeah.
I just saw from a friend on Facebook this week that speaking of Walter White, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul did like a live meet and greet this week at some mall.
They do them a lot because they do like tours for their
they have a tequila. Yeah, I had no
they
idea.
Go on, like tours where they'll serve their tequila to people and like and just talk with people.
I had no idea they had a tequila. I'm kind of interested to sample that now. So hint, Father's Day gift.
Yeah, tune in next week when me and my dad both take shots of I think it's it's like Dos Amigos.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Something like
that.
Yeah. When are we gonna do like a like the drunk podcast, like the drinking.
An After Dark?
Yeah, an After Dark. You know,
we should do a drinking game while we watch a movie live. Like something stupid where it's like, oh, Star Wars, but every time a stormtrooper misses, we take a sip of a drink or something.
We should make it like really dark though, where like we put in like some arty film, and every time like the camera shakes or someone says something esoterical that we don't understand, we have to chug, or I don't know.
Yeah, we watch some dumb French film, but every time they smoke a cigarette, it's like a shot.
Oh my god, we'd be
there for hours. Yeah, we would be a world of hurt.
All right, well that's just, we're still fishbowling ideas. Lots of things coming up.
Yeah, we'll privately grow on that idea and think of something along the way.
We'll see how this show develops. Your first week of class, how'd it go? Your 1 weekend.
It went well. I was just going to kind of segue into this because before we get into our film reviews, I took one of the classes I'm taking this semester is a screenwriting analysis course.
Yeah, you got
a script analysis course.
Analyze scripts.
Which, by the way, is taught by Sean from Boy Meets World, which is so random.
You told me that.
Super nice guy, great teacher so far. I mean, I've only had him for one class, but we did
hold on, not to fast forward over that, but this is who from Boy Meets World?
Sean, I think that's his character name. His name is Ryder Strong in real life.
Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World. He was an actor, played Sean, you said, on Boy Meets World. is
I believe that's the character
is
name.
now
I never
your
watched it.
professor. He teaches at Chapman. Is this his first year there, or has he been there?
No, he's been there. He's been there for a while. I think that's the way it made it seem, at least. But yeah, super. He seemed very nice. But we did our first class was about the first acts of movies, and so we watched 3 first acts in movies.
Let me
analyze them.
Before you get to that, let me ask you this. How do you know when the first act is over? Is it really clear, or is that up for interpretation as well?
Some movies are different than others, where it's like, oh, like a slice of life thing obviously is going to be different. But like
Right.
we watched like 3 very basic, like when the main character like goes on their
Right.
like the conflict has started, and now the character has made a decision to leave their normal life and go into like this new world.
Gotcha.
So we watched. Boy. We watched the first 20 minutes of Quest for Fire. Which was
for those who don't know,
Perlman's
that's
first movie.
Yeah, that's the caveman movie, where everyone literally is cavemen. And did you have to watch more than 20 minutes of it?
No, just the first act. He said he only picked it because it's like super straight cut, like hero goes on a journey. I mean, they're cavemen. It's not like they're breaking new ground here.
Let me ask you this.
We watched that.
Okay, go ahead. Then I'll ask questions after.
Okay, then we watched the first 20 minutes of The Ring, just to see a new genre.
Japanese horror film, correct?
Yeah, Naomi Watts horror film about it was not my genre, but like okay, it makes sense. And then he wanted to do like a more complex interpretation, so we did the first 20 minutes of Kramer versus Kramer, which you've seen. I've already seen, and it's just like a incredible movie, great first acts as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to say I don't have full movie reviews for those movies, but just like I did watch the first 20 minutes.
The first 20 minutes. Okay, so let me ask you this. You've already seen Kramer versus Kramer, so you probably won't revisit that. Will you watch the final acts of either The Ring or Quest for Fire? Do you feel like, well, I gotta go find out how this ends?
The Ring, not really, because I kind of it's a pretty cut and dry horror movie where it's like, all right, there's gonna be the monster and the kid's all creepy and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one where the girl crawls out of the well, right?
Yeah, out of the well on the TV and all that.
Yeah. It is kind of creepy.
Quest for Fire, though, I'm just kind of curious where that goes, because it's there's no dialogue, and the funny thing is too that I was looking at the opening credits, and it said that the guy that does like the language training for the actors is Anthony Burgess, who I'm reading his book right now, A Clockwork Orange. So it's like the guy that did A Clockwork Orange is on that movie doing caveman dialogue.
Yeah, not my cup of tea. Quest
for Fire or A Clockwork Orange?
Either one, actually. A Clockwork Orange I'm fine with, but Quest for Fire, no. That was...
Yeah.
I think it was the film that I think the studios and the makers wanted everyone to take really seriously, and I think it ended up getting more laughs in theaters than the filmmakers probably wanted.
Yeah, because you can tell they're really trying to be serious, but it's hard because it's like these are real people that are acting like
I think it's
just tough, you know.
I think if memory serves me right, it's Rae Dawn Chong is the female lead. I don't know if they encountered her yet.
I don't think we haven't gotten there yet. But I think he did mention the thing that's tough with that too is that this movie came out 20 years after 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I don't like, by the way.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where there's like the cavemen are kind of fighting like the more like less evolved monkeys, and just like to watch it 20 years later and be like, oh, this looks horrible compared to 2001. It's just like, oh, that's really unfortunate they didn't put more money in that.
I think the funniest. Look. The scene that's most hard, I don't know how to say it, to watch in Quest for Fire is, I saw it so many years ago, but I remember this scene, probably because I saw it as a teenager. I guess Ron Perlman, there's 2 cavemen, and they go out, and they end up hooking up for some reason with this young cave girl, who's the performance is Rae Dawn Chong, Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong's daughter, who went on to act in a lot of things. But there's a scene where I think Ron Perlman decides it's time for him to take her, as cavemen will do. Breeding must be done. And he keeps trying to, for lack of a better word, mount her from behind. Yeah. And she's not having it. She wants to do it, but she does not want to do it that way. She keeps rolling onto her back because that's the way she's a ballsy cave woman. She's like, I don't want it. I don't want that. I want you on top of me. And then I think he finally,
That's hard.
I think he finally succumbs to it and says, okay, whatever, I'm going to have you whatever way. And then you can see that he kind of likes that. And I don't remember if they kiss or something, but there's something about the scene that's like, we are now humans. Everything's not animalistic, doggy. We're going to do a connection. Like, I want to look at you while we do this. And the thing that I think is the creepiest about this entire scene is that the other caveman is sitting right next to them watching this happen.
Yeah, the teacher mentioned that where he was like, "Yeah, there's a sex scene at some point," and also they discover laughter because none of them have ever laughed before. Just random things. Where
they find. I think they find laughter over poop or something. I think someone's throws poop or someone falls in poop.
Of course they do.
I'd be curious to see. I mean, I don't know if it. Have you ever turned on TV and said, "Oh, what is this movie?" I don't think they show that anymore. I think you got to hunt down Quest.
Yeah, no, I had never heard of it. But the second it started, I was like, okay, now I know why I've never heard of it because this is horrible.
Robin Williams had a joke about that movie. I don't remember how he worded it, but it was something along the fact of, I saw Quest for Fire last night. What an incredible documentary. something like that.
That's good. That's a good,
really good documentary I saw last night.
That's really funny, actually. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll be curious if you revisit it. You can come back and tell me how you feel about the whole sex position scene.
Of course.
And all of our listeners will look forward to that. What else? What else did you see this week, Mr. Burns?
Just in a similar vein, I'm also taking history of film class, 1960 to present. And I watched 2 movies this week actually for that class.
Please cue. I think we're going right into Jackson's pretentious art house corner.
Not right away.
Oh, okay.
The first movie we watched was Nope. We watched Nope.
You revisited Nope
because my teacher, because the way the class works is that all the classes come together for the group screenings, but each individual teacher for the lectures has to assign 6 unique movies for them. And so my teacher's first pick was Nope. And
so
then we all came together.
The history of film, you watched a movie that came out 5 months ago.
Because it has to deal with like the movie industry and like filming kind of the spectacle of stuff, and so we're going to talk about that tomorrow or Monday.
Okay.
But then our first actual screening that was like required screenings for everybody that goes to my school was the 400 Blows. Which is now we're getting it. Which now is getting the pretentious art house corner.
Yeah. Well, before you get to that, this was your second time seeing Nope, right?
Yeah.
How was it on a second viewing? Did you like it less, more, or about the same?
I liked it less.
Really?
I liked it less, which I hate to say, but I think that there's something when you see it for the first time and you watch those the Gordy scenes with the monkey.
Right, the monkey.
It's like that really grabs you. When you come in already knowing that where that fits in, it's kind of like it takes the spark away a little bit.
Right.
Which, it's the kind of movie where I go, I understand why people love this. I totally respect it.
Yeah.
It's just for me personally, not my thing.
There's a lot of symbolism in Jordan Peele's Nope. Things with colors, foreshadowing. Did you kind of pick up more on that the second time? Or you're like,
definitely.
Yeah.
There was a lot more details. Like the time, the amount of time. I can't remember what the exact time, but it was like. Gordy's rampage lasted like 6 minutes and 13 seconds, and the alien always comes at 6:13 for the show. A lot of just stuff like parallels from like what's happening in the Gordy scenes.
Right.
A lot more like symbolism with the cameras and stuff. So I definitely caught on more. But
Nope was not.
I think that there was a charm that got taken.
Nope was not in your top 10, but I think it was one of your honorable mentions, wasn't it? Or no?
I don't think it was. No,
I might be confused.
I wasn't the biggest. Yeah.
All right.
That was Nope.
And the 400 Blows, I have never seen. I just am not a French film.
You would
guy.
hate it.
Yeah,
you would hate it.
I would. Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about the 400 Blows. I liked it a lot. A lot.
Okay.
But it's one of those movies where I see it and I'm like, if someone didn't like this, I would be like, okay, that makes total sense. Like, I can see why someone would watch it and be like, I didn't get anything out of this.
Yeah.
But I personally liked it a lot. If you haven't seen it, it's about a French delinquent, like a small child who's trying to like escape like the authoritative power of his school and his parents and the police, and it just kind of keeps building and building and building. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's worth seeing if you're into that kind of like French style, but if you're not, definitely I would stay away.
I thought it had about 398 too many blows. I feel like I felt like after the first two,
too many blows. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I found out too is that's not even the right translation. Like someone just like completely messed that up.
I thought you were gonna say I thought you were gonna say you found out it's not about 400 blowjobs. Real
disappointing.
5
minutes.
With a 5 minutes in, you're like, I don't. Not only have I not had one blowjob yet, I don't think I want to see any of these people get one. All right, yeah, French. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I can't criticize it. Never seen it, but it
would not be your thing, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, now you don't know my thing. Sometimes I like things that aren't my thing.
You do, but I think that it was real. It was real French. It was real French.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Here's a segue. Speaking of things that are not really my thing, but were kind of my thing, I gave Infinity Pool, Brandon Cronenberg's new movie, a pretty solid B- last week. I said I thought it was it held my attention. It was crazy. It was arty. It was weird noises and weird score and weird camera work and psychedelic, and I thought, this is not normally my thing. Again, won't make my top 10 of the year, but when I was watching, I was like, I bet Jackson will be really into this. Rumor has it you went and saw it this week, and I did. I'm very curious if I am completely wrong that this is your type of thing, or not. So what? We already know my thoughts on Infinity Pool. This is the new movie with Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth. From the son of David Cronenberg, that's playing in most theaters. What did you think, Burns?
So, two things actually. I'm curious because I did read that there are two versions of this movie. There is an R-rated version and an X-rated version. I saw the R-rated version, but apparently they're really not that different. It's just like a little more bloody, and that's it.
Oh.
The signifier is there's a scene where someone's head gets pretty smashed.
And there's that gets more graphic. It was just so graphic in the art.
They show the full aftermath, like the full thing.
Wow.
In the X version, but
what they're probably
that's the first thing
they're probably going to do is when it comes on demand, they'll go. You can order the X version then, the uncut or something, because it's not playing anywhere.
The director's cut. There's that. Also, I accidentally watched, and I know you made this mistake too at some point. I ordered the closed captions version, so I had to watch it with subtitles the whole time.
Dude, on that topic, the film, and we'll talk about it in a minute, that I saw, I bought a ticket to the theaters, and I went in, and I'm watching the trailers, and then suddenly a trailer for, I don't know, Ant-Man or something came on, and there was subtitles.
Yeah, it was only Ant-Man that was subtitled.
I was like,
and then the movie started, and it was still there.
Yeah, why is there trailers in the Ant-Man trailer? Then the movie starts, and I'm like, son of a bitch, someone up there flipped a switch or something. So I went out to the went out to the lobby and found a guy, and I'm like, the subtitles are on in my theater. It's so distracting. And he goes, sir, that's a closed caption screening. And did you go back in and watch Infinity Pool with the subtitles, or did you get changed theaters?
I had no choice. It was the only time.
Yeah, same with me. It's the only time I could go.
So Infinity Pool. I'm going to start with the things that I liked first, because there is a lot that I liked about this movie.
Oh, okay.
The cinematography was amazing.
Okay.
I was freaking out because I actually did research into who DP'd it, because I wanted to contact him and be like, how did you do some of this stuff?
Wow.
Because I just don't know how much of the effects were in camera and weren't. It was those psychedelic scenes were pretty great looking.
I thought there was one. I thought there was one too many. I was like, we had a psychedelic strobe scene,
and
then an hour later, it came back. I'm like, you're kind of shooting your wad twice, but
yeah. I think that Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth had amazing performances.
Mm-hmm.
I love, like you said, I really love the fact that Alexander Skarsgård can do a movie like The Norseman, where he's like a big, strong, buff guy, and then wear a dog collar and be weird in this one.
Yeah,
I respect that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the idea is really good, like the really great concepts.
It's different. It's different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for those who don't remember or didn't listen last week without going into all of it, it basically, imagine you are so rich that you could have a doppelganger made of yourself with your memory, and that doppelganger would pay the price for your crime instead of you. So, you're right. I mean, that is kind of a neat concept. But
where I get mixed up.
I smell a big butt coming here from you.
I think that the director and the writer tried to bite off a little bit too much. I think they were trying to do a little bit too much subtextually, where I was kind of trying to grasp what he was saying, but I kept on getting hints of a bunch of different stuff, where it wasn't as, like, there was a lot of moments where it was like, oh, this is a commentary on, like, class levels, because there's, like, rich people in a poor country. It's a commentary on, like, masculine tropes. But also like some stuff about the police and the government and the death penalty, and also like being yourself, and is he really a clone of himself, or which version of him is dying? So I think that I got really wrapped up in trying to understand where he was coming from, and I couldn't really. There was so much going on that I couldn't find one thing to like focus on. Okay. I think that if he had come down and really narrowed down like one big point, and this also could just be me looking too deep into the movie, but I think that I liked a lot about this. I was very curious to see where he goes. I was pleasantly surprised that this was way different than a David Cronenberg movie.
Yeah.
You're right in saying that.
Yes.
The trailer really didn't do it justice.
No.
It really made it look like it was going to be the next crime of the future. This is way different than you would expect. Score.
Go ahead.
Also, Tim Hecker, who was a music artist that I like a lot, did the score, and it was great. I think technically, this was great. I think that conceptually, it's great. I think that in execution, a lot of promise, but really kind of it was trying to say too much, and I got lost in it.
Oh, okay. What was I just getting ready to say? You will agree with me, though. Leagues better than his dad's movie, Crimes of the Future, from last year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
This is a way better, rarely, I think rarely happens when people, like, have kids that go on and do filmmaking. Usually it's like, okay, well, there's the father, and then there's the other guy.
It's
but this was like a real,
what's weird is that in the trailer for Infinity Pool, there's a lot of very quick shots of all those disfigured faces. And I remember seeing the trailer going, oh my God, I just saw his dad's movie last year with all that disfigured stuff and the surgeries. And I was like, am I going to have to hear about disfigured, freaky looking people again? So spoiler alert, when we find out that all the disfigured faces are just masks, I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, oh, is there going to be some weird surgery thing or these freaky
There was really
people?
only one moment that was like that, and it's when they bring him in to see his clone for the first time.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, we're kind of getting into that territory, but then it very quickly was like, nope, we're stopping there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to spoil it here, but did the there was one scene where they're going in to watch the execution, and there's kind of like a gotcha moment. Did you fall for it?
I did. They fooled me.
Yeah, I did too.
And
but
when the camera pans to the audience, I was like, oh, of course.
That was real smart. That was really smart. I will say though that I predicted. I'm trying not to spoil here. There's a scene where they kidnap someone, and it's the connotation that's going to be a different person, and then it turns out to still be a clone. I did call that.
Oh, I didn't call that either. That surprised me as well. There was again, you think someone is someone, and and they explain that very quickly. It's like one line where like, no, it was a joke. We we paid them to make a whatever. Listen, you have a lot of it sounds like you have more positive to say about it than negative. However,
I think that my positive reviews are coming from. I respect this very highly.
Yes.
And I didn't personally enjoy it as much as I would have wanted to, which is why, on a personal level, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
Oh,
but
wow.
With that being said, it did spark a lot of conversation, and I think that. It makes me want to go back and watch his other movie. I've heard Possessor is really great. And it makes me want to see whatever he's doing next, for sure. Including, I think this is Mia Goth's best performance yet, personally. I didn't see Pearl, but I think she was really, really great.
She's better in Pearl. She's very good. But you should definitely, and I know you were a fan of X, or at least a semi-fan of X. I think you will like Pearl. even more. She is she is the Chloe Sevigny of the moment right now. She's nuts. You know what? Before we move on, I think, you know what? I gave it a B-. I think my enthusiasm, and I'll say guarded enthusiasm for the movie, probably stems from the fact that I was very surprised to not hate this. You know, like I went in kicking and screaming. So when I actually found some entertainment value and was interested and the performances were good, maybe that's why I hold it just a little bit higher than you. Again, not going to be on my list at the end of the year, but a very solid B- for me on Infinity Pool.
Yeah.
So Jackson and I will get to our big releases of the week. I checked out You People on Netflix. That's the new Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill movie. And Jackson, I believe, saw... did you see Osage? Did you catch...
No, I didn't have time. But I did see... The theater releases I saw were Infinity Pool and Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah, okay. Let's just... Everyone wants to hear about M. Night Shyamalan. But before we do, I'm gonna drag it out. You gotta have to listen to the whole podcast.
Yeah, listen to the whole thing, damn it.
The whole
podcast. Find something you like.
Yeah. What we did both see this week is the Oscar-nominated. Well, I shouldn't say Oscar-nominated. I should say the Oscar-nominated performance of Paul Mescal as Best Actor in Charlotte Wells' directorial and writing debut. This is a small movie, Aftersun, that had a lot of Oscar push, a lot of Oscar buzz, but only garnered one nomination, and that was for, I believe, Jackson, just one nomination for.
It's just for
the lead
Paul
actor.
Mescal.
And there was a little bit of hoopla that Charlotte Wells, maybe as director, should have been thrown in there along with Sarah Polley for Women Talking, because no women again. This year were nominated. Well, I shouldn't say that again.
We had Jan Campion last year, but I mean,
and Chloe Zhao from the year before. So we've had 2 years of women winning directorial. But people are saying this might have been one of them. This is a very small movie from shocking A24 that seems to release every movie that's not a Marvel. It seems like nowadays it's a Marvel movie or it's A24.
People have said that, like, looking back, you can kind of see eras of movies where it's like, oh, like the Universal Monster era or like the Pixar era when it was all that. We're currently in an A24 era. Yeah,
there seems to be every other movie or every actor wants to be in something produced by A24.
Yeah.
This is a very slow moving, I would say almost... in some ways melodic and hypnotizing movie about slice of life about a father and daughter through a series of flashbacks, both video camera and shot on actual film, of a 1 week trip that they took when she was around the age of 10 or 11 with her dad to Turkey, to a resort in Turkey. What exactly became of them after, we find at the conclusion of the film. This is a deeply moving, it's a very emotional film that really tackles head-on in an interesting way, because it's never addressed, it's never brought to the forefront, but you feel it.
You never know what really happens, but it's implied that
there's
I can get into that later.
Yeah, having to deal with battling depression, and also how we look back on our childhoods, what we remember, what we don't remember, and what sometimes we just didn't realize was right in front of us at the time.
Yeah, it's crazy cash in hindsight.
This movie came out last year, so it is not a new release. It cannot make our top 10 list for 2023, but the question is, was it good enough to wipe something off of our top 10 this year and be added? Jackson, for me, it almost did. If I was looking at my top 10 list, and I did right after I saw the film, I said, okay, could I knock number 10 or something else off of this list?
What was your number 10? Remind me.
The Woman King, Viola Davis. And, I started looking at my list and I went, Aftersun was very emotional, a very beautiful film. And I'll just spoil it right now. I gave it a very solid A-. But, I said in my heart of hearts, Cha-Cha Real Smooth is a different type of movie. The Woman King is a different type of movie. And I like having a top 10 list of movies that weren't all just emotionally heavy, artsy things. I mean, I have those on there as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm very comfortable in saying that this movie deserves a nice home right there with the Batman and Bardo and some of my other movies that were in my just missed list. So this would be right in there at 11, 12, or 13. Really beautiful film. And before I get your thoughts on it, Jackson, the one thing I will say about this, though, if I were to nominate this for just one Academy Award, I think Paul Mescal would be my fourth or fifth choice. Like my first choice. Yeah, my first. I'm not saying he was bad. I thought he was very good. I thought his daughter was fantastic.
So good.
Frankie Corio is so good in this. The directing is fantastic. I think that the cinematography is beautiful.
Don't even get me started.
Right. If I had watched this film and then at the end of it I didn't know anything about the Oscars, and they go, what is the one award you think this film got nominated for? I probably would have gone, well, it's got to be, I would think, cinematography or editing or maybe director. And that's not to take away anything from Paul Mescal. I think he does a very nice job in this film. I don't know if that was one of the top 5 acting performances I've seen this year. So, but your thoughts on that?
Okay, yeah, interesting. So I sat down to watch this movie, and I had high expectations. I was like, okay, Aftersun, this is going to be huge. And I sat down and I was watching it, and I was like, okay, this is really pretty, but I'm not fully there yet. Like I'm waiting for something to happen.
It is a slow burn.
And then the David Bowie dance scene happened.
Well,
and then the movie ended.
That's the end of the film.
I know.
Oh.
But those two scenes made everything else make sense.
Right.
Where it was like once the movie was over, full tears. I was a wreck. Probably my number 2 movie of last year.
Wow. So this is bumping something. What does it bump? What does it bump?
Let me check right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna. I believe Barbarian.
Let's say a funeral. I think number 10 was Barbarian.
Let me make sure real quick.
Wow.
Yeah, Barbarian's getting knocked. I loved this movie so much.
But here's where I'm getting mixed signals from you. This movie, this is now your number 2, just after Everything Everywhere All at Once. But it really didn't affect you until the last 5 minutes of the film?
No, it did, but I was trying to... My point is, like, I was trying to piece together what was happening.
Right.
Where I was like, okay, where are we? Where is this dance scene happening? I'm just saying that the movie ended in such a great way where it put all the pieces together where I was like, oh, that's where this is going. Because I just didn't know. Mm-hmm. Which is what you want from a movie, in my opinion, where it's like the whole... like you're trying to... You're working with it, where you're like, oh, this is really interesting, and I'm trying to figure out where this is going.
I think I was following the through line for you with it a little bit easier. I mean, I think I saw... I don't think we're giving anything away to say that Paul Mescal, who plays the father in this, is fighting a very, very deep depression that... the majority of the film, he is trying to mask and put on a false front, which you can see will work for an 11-year-old, although at times I think she sensed what was going on with her dad. But for me as an audience member, I had no problem. I mean, obviously the scene towards the very end when there's a walk into the ocean and the breakdown emotionally in the hotel room where you don't ever see his face. But with that said, I mean, I felt there was, at first, I felt like there was a sense of he's floating through life without a purpose. He didn't know, but just with the phone calls to his ex-wife and the not wanting to do the karaoke on a given night and etc. The signs of depression, maybe just because I'm a little older than you.
I was playing along with that. I just meant like I didn't know where I was headed. Like
gotcha.
What's the end point?
Yeah.
And once it happened, it was like, God, that last shot, it was so powerful. I even thinking about it now, I'm just like, geez.
Yeah.
I left, the movie ended, and I was like, Jesus Christ, how is this not nominated for director, for screenplay, for cinematography? It looks incredible. For editing, for for the female lead's performance, there was so many where I'm like, geez, this is doing a better job than I think some of the other films. I think that the directing in this is better than some of the films that are nominated currently. I'm gonna be honest, and I look back and I go, okay, I think that the timing that when this movie came out is a big issue, because this came out like right before the Oscar nominations dropped. I think, right?
Yeah,
it was pretty late in the year.
It was like November. Yeah, somewhere.
But I don't know. It annoys me.
It's a limited release movie. There's no stars in it. It's a first time director. It's good. It's a movie that I don't know how hard A24 fought for it. And hey, look, it got a Best Actor nomination. Yeah, I think it won.
Deserved more though.
I think it won a few things at like the Independents. I think the only thing I would disagree with you on that is maybe screenplay, because to me the bulk of the emotional heft of this movie is done in silence. You know, I mean, you think about the scene where he kind of breaks down in the hotel. That's not really a screenplay. If you read the script, you would go.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You would go. He has an emotional breakdown and cries in the room. You know, I don't know if the dialogue between, say, the older kids that the little girl is looking upon and admiring the freedom and the independence as she's kind of a coming of age story. I don't think their dialogue was anything special, but watching the young girl's reaction to it and trying to find a way to fit in.
I disagree though, because I think that a good screenplay knows when not to put in, when to add in the moments of silence.
I think a good movie knows when not to overdo the dialogue. But I think if I was to read Aftersun the script,
that's fair.
In this scene, you guys just drink and talk about something. We're going to keep the camera on this little girl and see her longing to somehow try to find a way to, incorporate herself into that. So, I'm not taking anything away from the film. I'm just saying I don't know if screenplay. For me, screenplay either has to be a tremendous amount of very sharp dialogue or a very unique story. This is not a unique story. It's a father and son and a man fighting depression and a girl coming of age.
Father and daughter, sorry.
Anyways, I think we both agree. Obviously, you. Wow. So
I could not. This movie is. I haven't stopped thinking about it since it ended. I genuinely. It was so powerful. It was everything that I wanted it to be, and it was everything that I like about a movie. You know.
Well, there you have it, Mr. Burns. Suddenly a new number 2. We said we would make amendments to our list.
Yes.
If we saw something. So Barbarian for Jackson slips into the top.
The honorable mentions, which is not bad.
The honorable mentions,
not
not at all.
Yeah.
And me, this is a definite honorable mention. I could put this in my top 10. I'm happy with what I have. I like having a little bit of a mixed bag of movies that hit me in different ways.
Yeah, fair. So you're going with an A-?
A-, yeah. What was your? I'm guessing a.
It's going to be a 9, but I think that on a rewatch, I might bump it up.
Wow.
But I don't know when I'll rewatch this movie because it was so sad and really.
And
it was just sad as hell. So
you'll have to talk to her, but just FYI, I think your mother enjoyed it very much too.
I already did talk to her about it.
Okay, yeah.
Because she texted me when it was over.
So I guess since this is a father-son podcast, and this movie was about a woman looking back on her time as a little girl spent with her father, and then seeing the telltale signs of the struggles that he was going through. Do you look back now at the time that you and I spent and go, wow, I should have seen how horrible my father's life was? Do you look back and remember that time we went camping because we had
so much neglect. So much neglect.
I'm not trying to listen. I'm not making fun of depression in any way whatsoever.
He is actually. Everyone should be really upset about what he just said.
Probably.
I'm kidding.
No, it's. But it's also an interesting thing is that I know that you will look back as much the way I did. I remember how I looked at my father and my mother for the first 18 years of my life, and I look on those years completely different now. Doesn't mean that suddenly you go, oh, things were not as good as I thought. You just look and you go, oh, you know what?
It was different.
It was.
Yeah.
You look back and you go, "Oh, now I get that," or "That's why Dad kicked his foot through the door," or "That's why Mom always wore her hair like that," or it's literally
just weird things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, there you have it.
Yeah. Huh.
So yeah, Aftersun is now available. You can rent that on Prime Video. That's where we did as well. Before we get to our big one, the M. Night Shyamalan, I did very quickly see, Jackson didn't have time this week. We talked about it. I saw the new Netflix movie. This is directed by Kenya Barris, who's a big TV director, did Blackish, Grownish. This is called You People. It is produced and written by Kenya and starred Jonah Hill. This is kind of...
I have seen clips of this actually online.
Yeah. You People just opened this week. It's the number one watched movie and on Netflix this week. It stars Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, David Duchovny. There's a ton of other cameos in it. This is a pretty paint-by-numbers film. Jonah Hill plays a Jewish man in his early 30s who meets a African-American woman from Inglewood, Southern California. Eddie Murphy is her father. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is his mother. It's pretty much can a Jewish man and African-American woman bring their families together, have a relationship, and make everything work. I'm not going to rave about the movie. I am, however, going to rave about Jonah Hill. Jackson, he is just so funny to me.
He's so fun. He's so naturally funny.
He is so good in this.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, he's playing Jonah Hill. He's not playing a leading man. I give him credit for that. This is a really subpar idea. We've kind of been here before. But what really escalates it, again, it's kind of a weird theme this year. I've seen a lot of kind of subpar movies that I go, you know what? Not a great film, but I loved watching the performances were good. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is solid in this. This is a very subdued Eddie Murphy. Anyone think that they're going in for, Eddie Murphy? He is very low key in this, but I think very good as well. David Duchovny, a little bit weird casting, and as Jonah Hill's father.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it seems out of place.
He feels out of place. It's not particularly funny. The movie is formulaic.
Okay.
There's also, for some reason, a lot of needless interstitial montage scenes in between each scene of different sites in Los Angeles. And for some reason, this director has a fetish with shoes. Like everything takes place in a shoe store. Everyone's talking about their new shoes. I don't know what it is. But on any other day, this movie should probably get a D to a D minus. But ask your mother. I laughed out loud at least 7 or 8 times to this. Almost everyone was.
There was one scene that I saw online that was so. It was him. And he just keeps being like, it's totally not my business or something like that. But he just keeps going. Maybe it wasn't that specific line, but he just keeps like going in on someone, but being like really polite about it. He's just so funny. His delivery is so good,
so good in this. So movie D minus, Jonah Hill performance A plus. So I'm gonna meet in the middle and give You People a C plus. I think it's absolute. Okay. I think it's, if you want a good comedy, and the last half hour is pretty much, how are they going to get back together? Or the family's going to find a way?
Yeah, won't they?
Yeah, will they? Won't they? But C plus for well done.
Before
Jonah
you
Hill.
move on, did you ever watch Mid '90s, the movie that Jonah Hill?
I
directed?
didn't. That's the skateboard one, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's.
I'd be curious what you think of that.
It didn't look like my thing at the time. It looked like it wanted to be a film called Kids. Did you ever see Kids? The Harmony.
No, but that's Harmony Korean.
Yeah, it felt like, we're trying to be kids, and I'm like, I've been down this road of kids who are just horrible and just do nothing but sit around and.
It's really great. I mean, me personally, just because I think it's really great, but I'm not sure if it would be your thing either. Yeah. I think it's very my generation.
Yeah, maybe that's your kids' film. Like Kids was my for my generation when I was in my late teens, early 20s. So this one might have just been the same thing for you. But Jonah Hill, when he's in the right project, my God, he's funny. I like Jonah Hill in everything.
I've never been like, oh, geez, he wasn't great.
He's great in The Wolf of Wall Street. He's great in
funny.
This Is the End when he gets possessed is just
my
hilarious.
God. He's so great. Yeah,
he's always good. So
yeah.
I don't know how much time you have in your hands, Jackson, but if you just want something light, maybe with your girlfriend or something, it's pretty funny. It's the PGN podcast. I am Regan Burns, Jackson Burns, my son here, breaking down films, streamers, and French crepes. M. Night Shyamalan has been around a long time now and has seen the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. After bursting onto the scene with The Sixth Sense and probably still his best film, spoiler alert, Unbreakable, it's been kind of up and down. The downs, Lady in the Water and Old, and
don't forget the last Avatar: The Last Airbender live action movie.
Well, that's the low of the lows.
One of the most lowest rated, like.
Yeah, most people revere that as one of the worst films ever. Yeah. He's been slowly trying to dig himself out of the hole that he dug for a long time, and got a little bit grace back with Split, which was the Unbreakable sequel, and then shattered it all with Glass.
And then really fucked it up with Old.
Yeah. He's back with Knock at the Cabin. It opened this weekend. It stars Dave Bautista, who we all know from Guardians of the Galaxy, Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge, and a newcomer named Kristen Q plays the little Asian girl. Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge are a gay couple who have adopted an Asian girl and have rented a secluded cabin in the woods all by themselves when 4 people come knocking at the door, if you've seen the trailer, and tell them that they must choose to kill one of the 3 of them, and that the 4 of them cannot do it, but will sacrifice themselves until that choice has been made. It's a smaller M. Night Shyamalan movie. Really, there's only couple news scenes that have some special effects in it. It almost all takes place in this cabin in the woods over a period of about 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's the running time. It's really a day or two that the whole film encompasses. And the question is, are they completely insane? Are they a part of a cult? Or are they there for a higher purpose? Knock at the Cabin, Jackson. What are your thoughts?
I think this movie had a really good first 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think that it was I think the opening was very smart, just to kind of go right in it, where it's just like, oh, we're here now. And that's about all I have to say about this movie. Besides, love Dave Bautista.
I was just
just
going to say the one great thing about this film, and probably the only great thing. You know, I just read an article this week that Dave Bautista says he wants to do for his next film. He would really love to do a romantic comedy. And I remember hearing that and I went, I don't think I'm not sure.
I'd watch that though.
I'm not sure that's going to work. After seeing Knock at the Cabin, and by far I'd say with the exception of the first 10 minutes of Blade Runner 2025,
yeah, it's 2049.
2049. Dave Bautista can act.
Oh,
so
for sure. Make no mistake. He's great in this.
He is really, really good. And his performance alone almost makes this worth seeing.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend it for that alone. I can tell you that I would tell people to rent this or watch it on streaming when it comes on. I would have no problem. I'm not going to tell anyone to go see this in the theater.
I have 2 kind of issues with this movie. The first one, and this is going to be a kind of similar, not comparing these movies at all because they're very different, but I have a similar thoughts about this as I do to Tar, in that this is a movie that's very now, where it's like, this is a COVID movie. Like, make no mistake, this is a COVID movie.
Yeah.
End of the world themes, small cast, we're in one location.
Pandemic.
It's a now movie. And I'm like, do I want to see this again? I just spent we just spent 2 years watching,
right?
And I know that's like there was more than just that.
Don't always judge a movie on whether you want to see it again. I've loved a lot of movies and go, I'm never going to see that again, but I really enjoyed it.
No, not whether I wanted to see it again. I mean, do I want to see the end of the world again after I just watched COVID happen? You know, I'm looking at the TV and it's like, oh, all these kids are dying of a disease. I'm like, yeah, we've been there, man. and which is like similar to Tar, in that I was kind of like, I'm just kind of sick of the whole cancel culture thing.
Yeah.
It's just I'm waiting for the COVID era screenplays to be done, because we had Knives Out, Glass Onion that had COVID for no reason and never came back.
Yeah.
And this again feels like you watched COVID and went, let's do a thing about that. I don't want it.
Right.
And maybe you do, and that's fine if you do. I don't want that. That's my first issue.
Okay.
The second one is, I think that a lot of the characters lack depth. I think that the two leads, the gay couple, I think that they are written to be a gay couple, and that's about it. Like, I think that was they wanted to make it very clear they were a gay couple, and that was all they were, was a gay couple. And it's like, hey, gay people are also complex people. They're not just gay. It's just part of who they are. And it kind of just kept, every scene was like, oh my God, we have to talk about how they're gay, and here they're gay, and they're gay, and they're gay.
Right.
Which is fine, but it's like, there's more to people than just their sexuality.
Right. I was also bothered. There's some really stupid camera things in here.
Oh my God! Thank you for saying that.
Did you catch the weird thing there's one scene where they somehow put a camera right behind someone who's in a struggle, and then the camera kind of move like it's a perspective shot?
Yeah, they had the rig on him.
Yeah, like the rig was
on the actor. They
on
did that a lot
actor.
in Requiem for a Dream, but it was like all the way around.
But there was just one shot with this, and it just came out of nowhere, and it just felt like M. Night Shyamalan.
And also,
we got to do something funky with this fight.
When Dave Bautista does a thing, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like he does a thing with like a big staff, and the camera's like sideways, and it goes like boom, boom, and I'm just like, okay, whoa, let's calm down. It was a little bit all style, no substance, in my opinion, just in the way of like, because when you're looking at doing cinematography, your only priority is story. It's like, how can I better the story through the camera? And I look at that and I go, okay, did this really do anything for the tone, or like? Not really. It just kind of looked cool.
There was like 5 or 6 moments where some kind of camera trickery was done, and every single time it took me out of it. It didn't add to it. I was like, oh, why did they do the camera twirl thing, or why did they do that? Well, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, so we have to talk about it. It does have a twist, albeit a very slight one.
Yeah, it's small, but
when
it's
we
there.
find out who the four people actually are, it didn't save it, or wasn't like, oh, he was dead the whole time, or there's superheroes.
I just feel like there was holes too, where I was just like, okay, like I don't know, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't think I think the concept was strong, but I think that it didn't get built on enough where I was like, oh, this is really going somewhere. I was kind of like, oh, that's like the whole everything.
Yeah, one of the 4 guests at the cabin, it turns out, may or may not have had an encounter with one of the guys in the couple. That doesn't really get paid off.
Yeah,
You're like, okay, so did he recognize? He must have recognized him through all the court proceedings and everything. Like, you would think that he went to trial, and it's just...
Yeah, for...
Right, now we don't...
And just like, I don't know, I just felt I don't know, I just left feeling like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
So here's the deal. I'm giving Knock at the Cabin a D+. Is this... Let's rank this. If I'm putting it for M. Night Shyamalan movies, I'm going to put it right in the middle. This is not... It wasn't dreadful.
Yeah.
It wasn't, old... or The Happening, where Mark Wahlberg is talking to trees, or Lady in the Water, or some of the ones, Last Airbender.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And I love that show, and to butcher that is like, Jesus, how do you even start?
So I'm giving it a D+, but I gotta put an asterisk on it, because I really did like Dave Bautista in this. He was so fun to watch. He was so interesting. He was so committed. Again, a wasted performance in a really subpar film. What do you give it, Jackson? I have a D+.
I agree with everything you just said. I also was a little bit disappointed with the performance. I don't remember his name, but the guy from Mindhunters. I thought he had a weaker...
Jonathan Groff.
He's really great in Mindhunters, but I don't know, I wasn't as committed to... Maybe that's true to the writing, but you were so right. Dave Bautista steals the show with this film, and it does... I think bring up my score a little bit because, God, he was so fun to watch.
Yeah, he was.
this is just a movie where I went in with low expectations and I left, feeling like, all right, that was a movie that I just watched. Nothing more than that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a 4 out of 10 on this one.
All right. Okay. I think we're about on the same page as that.
Yeah, I might actually move that. You know what? I might move it down to a 3. Because Dave Bautista's good, but he's not, it's a lot of movie besides Dave Bautista.
Does M. Night Shyamalan...
Oh, and one more thing.
Oh, yes.
Because I kept waiting for this to come back. Because there's a scene where they're on a dock. And he's like, he mentioned something about bears and how he's like, I put the trash away to keep the bears out. Yeah. And I was like, the bear's going to smell the dead body and there's going to be a bear at some point. No bear.
No
and
bear.
That never comes back.
Yeah.
So,
no.
If you watch the movie and you're expecting a bear attack, it doesn't come.
No bears until Cocaine Bear hits the theaters.
Oh, I'm so excited for Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear.
So excited for Cocaine Bear.
One of the best trailers out there if you haven't seen it. No real big new trailers this week. I'd say the only big new trailer, Jackson, what were your thoughts? I know we both saw it.
Look at my list.
Guy Ritchie's The Covenant seems to be.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're calling it Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Like, if you look it up, you can't look up The Covenant. I think they're so afraid it's going to get confused with, Leonardo DiCaprio's movie. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is probably the only big new trailer this week. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, a Middle East story. What did you think of that one? I mean, I'm not a Guy Ritchie fan.
It looked really uninteresting, it's weird to me because it doesn't look like a Guy Ritchie movie. Like, Guy Ritchie movies are usually like that fast pace, British. I'm like, this looks like way different. Yeah. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll see it for Jake Gyllenhaal, but the story, it seemed like a pretty cut and dry, hero rescue in Iraq story.
Yeah.
Which is always, in my opinion, I think those movies usually lack just nuance. It's just kind of like,
I know.
a pretty basic story.
I'm kind of Middle East movie out too.
Yeah, I am too. I'm looking at my list right now. The
Nothing
Boogeyman
really?
looks another Stephen King adaptation. The Covenant, whatever. Mafia Mama. I don't know if you saw that, but it's Tony Collette.
Tony Collette.
Weird,
that's
rough comedy.
Yeah, rough.
You know what? I'm weirdly enough pretty excited for 65 with Adam Driver. That looks interesting to me.
Really, Jurassic Park?
I am.
Come on.
It's so stupid, but I love Adam Driver.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool twist, and I think it. I mean, look, this could be a schlocky action film. But Adam Driver and like a little girl in the woods fighting dinosaurs sounds like a good time to me. So I'm there for 65.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm going to see it. I don't have high.
Liam Neeson's in some new movie that looks like a Liam Neeson
Marlowe.
movie.
Yeah, like he's playing
Marlowe.
Detective Marlowe. The one that I saw,
new horror movies.
The one that I saw this week that I think you have seen before, that you have to be excited for, is Ari Aster. Is that his name? The Hereditary.
Yes, Beau is Afraid.
Yeah, I saw that against the trailer.
I'm so excited for that.
Here's the thing: I hate Hereditary, and Midsommar is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, I'm sorry. What did you say about Hereditary? You cut out.
I said, I hate Hereditary. And
I did not know that. Hello, I knew you hated Midsommar.
Midsommar is one of the worst films I've ever seen. Hereditary.
I didn't like it, but I wouldn't say that. Hereditary's awesome movie. It's a great movie.
I think it takes
crazy
a long
take on
I
that.
I think Tony Collette's great in it, but I will will admit maybe it's the Supertramp song they use. I don't know, but Beau is afraid with Joaquin
just
Phoenix.
the idea of like an absurdist horror comedy with Joaquin Phoenix is like, wow. That's say what you want about Ari Aster, but that's pretty damn original if you ask me, just from a conceptual point. So I'm really excited about that.
If you guys haven't seen it, go online and look at the Beau is Afraid. I think that's what it's called.
Beau is Afraid. Yeah, but besides that and Oppenheimer, I'm really not that excited for anything else. And you're not even that excited for Oppenheimer.
No, Alone with Willem Dafoe.
I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I haven't seen that trailer in theaters in a while, so I just keep forgetting about that. But those three, I'm not that excited for Barbie personally. Not my thing. I'm not that excited for.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go, Barbie.
80 for Brady.
80 for Brady. We do not have a review of this week.
Which one of my professors worked on and was trying to get us to all see. By the way,
I might go see it this week. I might go see it. Maybe.
I'm looking at reviews.
They're not bad.
They're not bad.
They're not bad. They're not. It's not.
But I can't tell if it's like a bit. Like it's like everyone's in a bit. It's like it's 80 for Brady.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
It's it didn't get a big
4
goose egg
Oscar
on Rotten
winners,
Tomatoes. Well, I have news for you. Next week's not looking fantastic, but this is what we're coming at with you next week. We got 2 films opening next weekend. First one is Magic Mike's Last Dance.
I have not seen any of the Magic Mike movies, so
okay. The first Magic Mike. First off, these are all Steven Soderbergh movies, which you need to know. I mean, the same guy who did Sex, Lies, and Videotape and Solaris. It's such a weird thing that this is his commercial vehicle. The first Magic Mike was actually pretty good. Does it have all the? Okay. It was, because it was really kind of focused on this group of 7 or 8 guys who, are in the strip show, but it was kind of their dreams to do something and how they ended up there and are they happy doing this. And there was actually some human connection with it in between, Channing Tatum doing stuff. Second one I didn't see, but I heard it was atrocious. But I can't verify. This looks wretched. It's Salma Hayek and Channing Tatum doing a Broadway Magic Mike show.
You know what's so interesting? Just because they were co-stars, I think Jonah Hill is amazing in everything he does. I don't know if I've ever really liked the Channing Tatum performance, personally.
I liked him in the 21 Jump Street movies with Jonah, but
I thought he was fine in those. I like the movies a lot, but I think that the laughs always came from Jonah for me.
It did.
It was always his character.
It did. He played a good straight man to him.
Yeah.
So we have Magic Mike's Last Dance. The other movie that's opening in limited theaters next week is a movie for Apple TV. It's going to be in theaters for 1 week, and then it opens on Apple TV the following week. We may try to go out and see that. It's called Sharper. It is. It stars. It was also produced by Julianne Moore. It stars Sebastian Stan, who you guys all know is the Winter Soldier in the Marvel franchise, and John Lithgow. It's a thriller. But since Jackson,
he does those a lot now. Sebastian Stan. He was in that movie Fresh last year that neither of us went to go see. But
so he's. But we might try to sneak out and see that. We'll see what's playing in our theaters near us. And maybe we can give you for those of you out there who have Apple TV. We can give you a week advance and early screening of that. So next week it's going to be Magic Mike's Last Dance and or Sharper with Julianne Moore, which leaves we're back. We took a break from it last week, but it's back to get to our picks. These are when we pick classic films. I pick one or Jackson picks one, or a movie that's got a lot of buzz that we just have not seen, neither one of us, and we go back and visit. I'm going to go a little different this week, only because it's...
Yeah, you said that, and I'm curious on where this is going.
Well, only because it's Oscar season. I think it's important that we see everything, and this is probably one of the most controversial stories out there right now, and a film that has garnered huge buzz. The lead actress in this movie, To Leslie, received an Academy Award this year. An Academy nomination. This is a really small little film that came out earlier this summer that was gone in a week, but due to a huge push by celebrities like Jennifer Aniston and Gwyneth Paltrow and many others, look up her last name for me. I think it's Eisenborough.
I'm looking up right now.
Yeah, Renee. She got an Academy Award nomination out of this, and the controversy has actually sparked an investigation.
Andrea Riseborough?
Yeah, Andrea Riseborough. The nomination has actually sparked an internal investigation within the Academy as to whether or not there was possibly some illegal campaign maneuvers to get her a nomination. So,
wow!
A lot of celebrities who have won Academy Awards called people who were on. You're not allowed to do that, to call people and say, listen, I want you to nominate this girl that you haven't even seen.
You know what? That makes me sad because that's not her fault.
I know.
And if they get in trouble for that, that looks really bad on her. So, that's just tough to hear. So I hope that nothing comes of that, because that's just unfortunate.
Yeah. So since that's kind of the hot story this week, I got a whole crap of films from the 70s and 80s and 60s that I want us to see as well. But I thought maybe it was more important for us to do that. So one, this is a critically acclaimed film. At least for the performance. It's an Oscar nomination. It's available on Prime for rent. So we're going to check out To Leslie and let you guys know next week if we think she deserved the Academy Award nomination that she got. Who's she up against again? Michelle Yeoh, Cate Blanchett.
Yes.
Who are the other?
No, Viola Davis. Oh no, it's the.
Why am I blanking?
Wait, is this for main or supporting? I'm sorry.
No, lead actress. Look it up there, young Jackson. I'm blanking on it, but there you have it.
Ana de Armas.
Oh yeah, Ana de Armas and Blonde, who you saw,
and Michelle Williams.
And Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. So I think it's important we see them all, and it's the hot topic right now. So that's what we do here at the PGM podcast, is we bring the hot stories.
We really do.
Yeah. Is there anything that you have now, Jackson? We know you're going to be first in line for Magic Mike's Last Dance, and you'll watch To Leslie and try to see Sharper. But anything on the homework you have to watch this week? Is there an assignment?
Yeah, I think that I'm watching Spirited Away in my screenwriting class this week, which everyone knows.
Oh, you know how
I cartoon and
I love anime. I love anime. Oh, can't wait to hear your thoughts on seeing that again.
I've already seen it. It's one of the best movies ever made. And then I don't know what. You want me to look right now? I can look what I'm doing for my history.
Yeah, while we're doing that, I'll remind everybody that you can follow me, Regan Burns, on Instagram at regan.burns, and you can follow Jackson Burns on TikTok and Instagram at Jackson N Burns. Add an extra N on there. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the PGN Podcast, and to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and lots of 5 stars. Jackson, what are you watching?
We are watching 2 movies, The Battle of Algiers and something called Black Girl. We're covering political cinema, post-colonial cinema, and third cinema. So
our 4 fans of Jackson's pretentious art house corner are probably just creaming their pants right now.
I've never heard of any of those films. So
but
I'm
Jackson,
curious, I guess.
I bet you'll love them all and give them 10s.
One can only hope. It's a toss-up with those older films.
One can only hope. Best film of the year so far, Jackson? I guess it's Knock at the Cabin.
I'm trying to wait. No, there was one that I just. Oh, it's Skinamarink is the best film.
Oh, Skinamarink. So Knock at the Cabin is number 2 on your list. If you had to put together the best films, just remember this.
Yeah. It's
no, actually, I bet it would be 3. I bet Infinity Pool. Yeah, I think for me, the top films of the year so far in order would be Infinity Pool, then Megan, then Plane.
Oh, yeah, you see more than me. I forgot that.
Then Alice Darling, and then
I still can't get over the
Knock at the Cabin. Plane. Next year it's Boat.
Oh, I'm so excited for Boat.
Can't wait.
The spin-off.
Can't wait for the Bus. Just names. Just
names that do with places.
Although, you know what? Like, one of the best action movies of all time is Speed. That's a dumb name for a film. I mean,
but it kind of works, though. I think it kind of works.
It does.
It's Keanu Reeves, and Speed just like, I don't know, something about it.
But yeah, what's it about? A bus that can't go below 55 miles per hour. What are you calling it?
Speed.
Go faster. What if it was Faster?
I haven't seen that movie in so long. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
the late Dennis Hopper. Were you a fan? Were you a fan of Blue Velvet?
Oh yeah. I think I saw it too young though, where I was kind of like.
You're a David Lynch guy, but I don't think you like Blue Velvet. Dennis Hopper sucking on that
Hopper
mask.
Is so good though. I need to see it again in hindsight because I love Kyle MacLachlan and I love Dennis Hopper, and so I feel like that needs to get a rewatch. But
yeah, all right, maybe that'll happen.
Who's got time for that?
Who has time? I know I don't. I got things to do right now.
Me too.
I got nothing to do. All right, well, enjoy your busy young life at college. Love you, miss you. And I will.
Love you too.
I will talk to you probably not until next week because we don't really communicate during the week.
Yeah, this is kind of it for us.
We're 1 hour and a half max. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.